Welcome to the fourth video in the Options Matrix Pro platform walkthrough series. In this video, we're going to be looking at the strategy visualizer. The visualizer is where you want to go when you already have a trade idea and you want to understand the risk and the reward and the shape of the trade before you take it any further. So the trade idea might come from Matrix or the scanner, and within there, maybe the advanced strategy scanner, or it might be something that you've already just got in your mind. So the key question that the visualizer is helping to answer is, what does the trade actually look like if the stock moves? And predominantly you can view that through graphs, through tables, and through a number of the different variables as you move through. It's, I guess, important to know because an option might look attractive, maybe because the premium's high, looks like good percentage, but you need to understand the full picture, the break evens, the max profits, the max loss, what's the risk, the collateral. You can also view where the expected move is as well, and see how it actually changes over time and where your position currently is. You can see what would happen if IV was to change, what would happen basically for a number of different variables. So it really helps you move from this looks interesting to do I actually understand the risk and the reward. So in terms of the trade setup, at the top here, you can actually select the symbol. So it's very similar to how the matrix worked. You could basically type in the symbol and you can see what it is as well as the name. We'll just use Tesla for now in this case. You can see what the current stock price is, the spot price. Also, you can click on this to see different strategies. So you can click on through and it will effectively show you the different strategies. And it will basically make the appropriate adjustments. Just go back to the cash secured put. It's a good example. You can then change the expiration dates as well. So I like to use typically the third Friday in every month, and I'm going to run out to 42 days to expiration on a cash secured put. Let's jump back to that to see what that looks like. You can also add and remove legs as well. So you can also just buy and sell. So you can change the entire structure and strategies of what that looks like. Just keep in mind, I am right now, the market's closed. And so the data may not be that accurate. So you just need to keep that in mind if the market is closed. Over on the right hand side, you can see any saved trades that you've actually got, and that will load up, and so you can visualize what they look like. You can actually save a trade itself. So what you're currently looking at, you can enter in your pricing, trade names, the trade legs, quantities, etc. And that will save it. You can also view the various positions that we've got. So just the sidebar view of what's here. If you want to add multiples on the particular stock, you can actually do that as well on the options, I should say. You can also add in commissions, and I'll let you explore that. Close that out. As you probably saw me do, you can drag this around to also change the strike price. Next is the key numbers. So we've got these tiles here. So they include things like your estimated profit and loss, your net credit debit, max profit, max loss, break even, collateral, probability of profit, all of that. So quite useful to be able to understand the numbers at a glance. Similarly, you've got the Greeks that have been laid out below as well. So you got your delta, gamma, theta, vega, rho. This is quite important, especially if you are a theta style trader. The time decay is a big part of the strategy. But it's good to understand all the different components. So you've got your delta that helps to show how sensitive the trade is to a movement in the stock. You have gamma that shows how quickly that sensitivity can change. Vega, which shows how the trade may react to changes in implied volatility. And so these can become quite important if the stock moves quickly or volatility changes. And I guess it's important because the Greeks help you understand that the trade isn't static. It changes as price, time, and volatility changes. One of the most useful parts of the visualizer is this graph view. You can actually visualize and see what the P&L chart looks like. You can also adjust the range here. You can set particular targets as well, which will actually then demonstrate on the chart. You can update the IV, etc. that I was talking about. And you can see what it looks like at various expiration points and how that's going to move. The other view is the table view. So if we jump across to the table, you essentially have the same sort of thing. Now, this, you can adjust it closer into the specific date that you're at. Typically, I'll leave it at expiration so I can see the whole view over time. Once again, you can adjust the range so you can see how that's going to move and adjust over time as well. At this point, I will say it's important to remember that the visualizer is just a modeling tool. It helps you to estimate how a trade may behave, but it's not a guarantee. One thing that is very interesting, even from my own perspective in developing this, is that it's all based on formulas and the future is simply just a prediction. So before you place any trade, always verify the final pricing, liquidity, risk, execution details in your own broker. So in just the simple terms, the way I like to use this visualizer is to start with a trade idea, review the summary numbers, check the max profit, loss, break evens, etc. I'll have a quick look at the Greeks and then use the graph to actually understand the shape of the trade, particularly if I'm doing more complex trades, right? Right here, I'm just using cash secured puts, etc. But if I'm doing more complex trades, butterflies or some custom strategies, it's a great way to actually see what the payoff looks like. Again, I'm just going to give that warning around the data if you are outside of market hours looking for those wide bid and asks. Then effectively I'll try and adjust the trade as needed to determine whether it's still worth considering. And the visualizer is where you can move from actually trying to find a trade to understand that. And that's ultimately its purpose.